Everyone. Welcome to another exciting edition of Words, Images, and Worlds. I'm so glad on this episode to be talking with comics creator Stephen Shaskan. Stephen, you are known for two foods which have become living characters, pizza and
Yeah.
taco, of which you are currently wearing the shirt as well. I love that. Love that.
Hey,
Yeah.
gotta support my own merchandise.
Of course, of course. Well, both of us, without planning, are supporting George Lucas right now, or
Yes.
probably Disney now. But yeah, we've given the shout outs to Star Wars certainly, but shout
Yeah.
out to Pizza and Taco and the work that you've done, and
Oh,
10 books. I think you said one other one. The next one is on the way in some form
yes.
of creating.
Yes, there's
So.
seven out there right now, and then number eight comes out in October, but I have finished 10 and I'm working on number 11. So
Yeah, yeah.
yes.
You have a creative vision and like to work ahead, it sounds like.
Yeah, yeah, yes. Well, that's because my publisher takes some time for the books to get printed and
Yeah.
designed and everything. So yes, so it takes a little bit of extra time. So yeah, yeah, but I'm really I've been really excited with this series and having a lot of fun with it. And yeah, and I don't have any problems coming up with more ideas for it. So yeah, I just met with my editor, and she and I talked about at least two more books. So on top
Oh,
of that,
wonderful, wonderful.
so yeah.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I love about your books, other than the fact that you have some really nice humor and commentary in there for the adult audience as well. I'm thinking about one where they're sort of talking to each other and they're like, "We're in a comic, it's a graphic novel. What's the difference?" The way you use both illustration along with design, like pizza always looks like a pizza, and you have some of those kind of real textures and
Yep.
images to play with. So it's a very cool book just to even look at.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think so. I started this career back in like 2009, and but Pizza and Taco didn't come out till 2020. I've been always playing with the idea of using different like textures and things like that, and but I never really got a chance to do it until Pizza and Taco. So I was really excited that my art director and editor were totally on board with the style and everything. So yeah, it was and I had a lot of fun doing it. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
very cool.
and it also enabled me to do something do something a little different with it. Um, it stands out in the bookstores and in Target and so forth when you see, in versus just traditional drawing with, with, whatever type of coloring, like when you see the photographic images. It's also
Mhm.
one of the biggest questions I get from kids
Oh
is,
yeah.
how did you make it look like a real piece of pizza? And and I have a whole video that shows how I did it,
Oh
like
nice.
just to show them because, like that's their biggest question. That's one of the biggest questions that I get is that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You don't just go with the sort of like, I'm just that good, kid. That's how I do.
Yeah. I have friends. Actually, it's really funny that you say that because one of my friends who I used to make comics with when I was in elementary school, one of his things is and I can't remember what you called it. It's like it's some fancy French word, but it's when you paint something that looks realistic. So
Mhm.
he'll paint something like um a photograph that's taped to a blackboard, and then has something on top of that like magnets on it or whatever, and but he'll paint it perfectly realistic,
Oh wow. Yeah,
so
yeah.
he could do pizza and taco the right way, or the non-cheating way, I guess, or whatever you want to call
Yeah, yeah. There
it.
is no cheating way, right? There is
Yes,
no
yes.
cheating way. Well, that taps into a little bit of the creative origin question, but I also want to give a shout out before I ask you that because I think you were on a forthcoming episode of one of my favorite podcasts, which is Dollar Bin Bandits.
Yes, yes.
Yep, yeah. So quick shout out there to that team. A big fan of theirs, and they don't pay me for saying that. I don't know that any of us get paid in podcasting, but they're one of my go-to commute listens. So that was
Nice.
really cool to get to see you doing that. But back to that origins question, you mentioned creating comics in elementary school, and so
Yeah.
I generally ask how people connect with writing and arts and creating.
Yeah, so yeah, in elementary school, I started collecting comic books. I have several of them on my wall over here, over to the side of me here. But yeah, I started collecting comics and drawing comics, and I had, a group of friends that all drew comics, and that is, what really drew me into creating comics. And but I was even in my 20s, so I'm 53 right now, or I'm going to be 54 next week. But but
Happy early birthday. Happy early birthday.
thank you. But in so when I was creating even in my 20s, I was making my own, like zines and comics and things like that. But nothing that I'm proud of, and hopefully nothing that will surface. But yeah. Anyways, just because it's embarrassing mostly. But anyway, very self-deprecating and feeling
It's
sorry for
always a
myself. So,
process. Always a
but yes.
process.
But yeah, actually, the first book that I ever illustrated was actually this one.
Mm.
This is Art Panels, Bam, Speech Bubbles, Power, writing your own graphic novel. This is one written by my wife, Trisha Speech
I
Shaskan.
love
So
it. Love it.
my wife was working writing for Capstone and has written a bunch of books. She's an author of several picture books and other things as well. And so we worked on this book series together, or this book together, and that brought us to teaching comic classes. And
Hmm.
so that was so we were teaching comic classes, and that was really cool because kids were kids were bringing in comics, and we were like learning about them, and we were learning more and more, and of course my love of them. And then we got a chance to create our own. We had pitched some ideas to Scholastic for some illustrated chapter book series, heavily illustrated chapter books, and uh, and we got shot down. And so we were like,
Hmm.
well, let's take this idea that we have and let's turn it into a graphic novel. And so that came about, and this is the graphic novel that we did this series here. It's Q and Ray,
Nice. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
about a hedgehog named Q and a rat named Ray, and they solve mysteries at Elm Tree Elementary. And there are three books in that series, and it's through Learner. And we are really excited about that. And just that process of making comics and getting back into that, like just I had worked on picture books for several years, and suddenly I'm back into comics, and I was just joyful to be
Yeah.
creating them, and it just felt so natural. And so I got really excited, and when Q and Ray ended, they we, I started thinking about ideas for more comics and so forth, and pizza and taco was the thing that I came up with, and that was from working with kids and teaching kids, and if we created characters with kids that were group characters. We'd ask the kids, like, what's this character's favorite food, and it was always pizza or tacos.
Oh
So,
yes. Yes.
although yesterday we just taught a class and it was fish sticks. So
Ah,
I
you
don't
have
have
a.
fish sticks yet
I was
as
gonna
a
say you have
character.
a whole new direction, a new character.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Well, those are popular lunch days indeed.
Yeah.
So, very wise to anthropomorphize. Yeah, there we go. Those
Yes.
two. Yeah, those two. Yeah,
I know it's
and
food, but it's anthropomorphized.
yes,
It's,
yes.
it's weird because it's not animals, but still, they still call it
Oh,
that.
yes, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But that leads to lots of fun creating. And any particular inspirations, any comics creators, picture books, or anything like that that's part of your kind of artistic sauce.
Yeah, yeah. So when we first started teaching our classes, kids were bringing in Bone and
Hmm.
Smile, graphic novels. But then as we kept going, some of the graphic novels got a little bit younger, and so kids were bringing in Dogman and Narwhal and Jelly,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
and the cool thing about those two for me was that kids were drawing those and those characters. And so I really wanted to draw something that kids could draw. And so when I was trying to keep, like Narwhal and Jelly, especially Narwhal and Jelly, I just love how simple those characters are. And so I really wanted to draw something that kids would be able to draw so that they could come up with their own comic ideas for it. And they have, which is really cool. So that's Narwhal and Jelly was a big influence on these pizza and tacos. And
Mm-hmm.
then on top of that, uh, The Amazing Adventures of Gumball.
Oh,
Uh,
yes, yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the television show. I love the mixed media that they use in that because everything's different and it works somehow. I think they're extremely clever how they pulled that off. And then on top of it, I think the characters of Gumball and Darwin are just really great because one of the things about pizza and taco is that they're kids. They're just normal kids, even though they're
Mm-hmm.
a pizza and a taco. They're just kind of your average kids, and I think that was a lot of fun to think about, even with Gumball and Darwin and all that and everything, because I related to those characters so well. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. Love that. And speaking of sort of secret sauces, one of the things that I love about your work is that it's a series book, and so kids can get into one, they can continue on through. It's always great to have sort of like, well, if you liked this, here's the next one. So,
Yeah.
what's the sort of secret sauce for creating a long-standing series the way you've done?
You know, it these These books have been so much fun to create for me, and I know these characters so well that it doesn't like I'll sit down with my editor and what we have. So here, I'm good. I'll backtrack here. When the second book came out, my editor said to me, "Can you just write a list of as many different ideas as you can for pizza and taco?"
Hmm. Hmm.
And like for titles, like of books or and so I sat down and probably in like 45 minutes wrote like 50 different ideas and like
Wow, yeah.
and it can be any including like Pizza and Taco Star Wars Episode 10. But so there's and I also prepared myself for ultimate failure, so I did Pizza and Taco Jump the Shark as well.
Nice, nice.
So eventually down the line Pizza and Taco might jump the shark. But so I have this long list, and every so often every year my editor and I go down the list and we're like, oh, what about this one, what about this one, and we start talking about different ideas, and we add to it as well. We take out ideas and add stuff. And so, one of the things that kids really like, every time I ask kids for ideas for books, is they always want them to go camping or go in outer space.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
And so I have to figure out, like the logistics of how that would work and what they would do, and so forth. But it's it's always easy to come up with ideas for these characters because they um I have them in my head. I've actually had times where I didn't know what to write about, and I've drawn pizza and taco in my sketchbook, talking to each other about what the next book should be, and
Oh,
like
love it, love
and
it.
how like so they're discussing it and they're figuring it out. So yes, but yeah, no. So it's been a lot of fun. So I think I answered your question. I'm not sure if I did.
You did, yes, yes,
All right,
absolutely. It was
good.
about that long-standing creating, and I just love what you're saying there about sort of planning, pre-planning, tossing out ideas, adding to them. So
Yeah,
that's a really cool thing, very cool thing. And you're also somebody who one of the things I'm hearing and liking is you talk with kids and you ask kids what they want to see, and
yeah,
you mentioned that you continue to engage with kids in class visits and
yeah.
graphic novel and comics making classes. So curious about a time, or maybe a couple of times, that you've had this kind of interaction with a young reader that's been really surprising or interesting or inspiring.
These okay. These books have been like just amazing because I've had kids from like all over reaching out to me through social media or through my email and just like with and parents too like reaching out that these are the first books that kids are reading
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
it's always so amazing but and actually the next book which is Pizza and Taco Best Christmas or yeah, Best Christmas Ever which comes out in October that one is actually dedicated to a kid who when the first book came out that was the first book that he ever read.
Oh, love it. Love it.
And he's still reading them to the point where he's like, like last Christmas, he's like, well, the next Pizza and Taco doesn't come out till January, so I don't really want any books.
Oh, wow. He's
So,
dedicated, dedicated.
but I did just see him with another book to a photo of him on Instagram with another book, and I was like, oh, good, he's reading
Yes.
other books.
Yeah.
But no, but I actually dedicated the next book to him because we've been in contact for a long time. And but yesterday, I was down in Blue Earth, Minnesota, and we were teaching a comics class, and there was one of the younger students there in the classroom was this kid named Andy, and Andy had brought in the box set of Pizza and
Mm-hmm.
Taco, the six
Hmm.
book box set, and the one from Barnes and Noble, which is the first book came out in the super smelly edition. So it's a scratch and sniff cover and there's stickers inside as well, scratch and sniff stickers. And the story is that he was in Barnes and Noble with his mom and he's never read a book in his life. This
Wow.
kid, he never likes book, never read a book, and he picked up Pizza and Taco and the scratch and sniff version,
Hmm.
and then read it and loved it so much that the mom went back and bought the box set. So it was kind
Nice.
of yeah, which is just and it just yeah, it's amazing because it's just like I said, it's just like I keep getting these stories and I feel like it's so amazing to me. I was a total reluctant reader when I was a kid. I didn't really
Hmm.
read a lot, but I actually read comic books is what I read.
Yeah.
So, which makes sense, and it's really cool that, and also when I was a kid too, I think what was really is we had comic books, like the 40 cent, 50 cent comic books that you could buy, that were like, like Little Dot and all the Harvey comics and things like that. There was a lot more like kids comics, like
Hmm.
out there on top of Marvel and DC, which I read mostly, but still, like I think there was just a lot of that available, and there's not really a lot of that available right now.
Yeah.
And I could be wrong, but it just seems like that whenever I go into a comic book store, they'll have like the kids section way
Right. Right.
over in the corner.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, but like Harvey Comics used to be like a huge part. Like I had a
Hmm.
friend who had like probably like 200 like Richie Rich comics and, and Sad Sack and all those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm just thinking about a comic shop I went to recently where, yeah, there was one, excuse me, one corner that was like, here's the kids section, and the rest is like, if you're a
Yeah.
grim and gritty adult and you like to read, yeah, it's
Yes.
kind of, it's nice
Yes.
to have that mixture.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, of course, I'm curious about ways that people can get in touch with you, classroom visits, comics classes, checking out things on social media, anything like that that you'd like to mention.
Yeah, so mostly I'm mostly on Instagram and Facebook, on social media. So you can find me at Stephen Shaskan. I'm not hiding anywhere. I don't have some weird moniker on either one of those things. And then you get my and once again my email my website is stephenshaskan.com. I make that super easy And what else? I pizza and taco. One of the fun things that I did this last year, and I want to advertise it again. But there is a um, I've created a separate YouTube channel. All right, so I have two YouTube channels. One's called Super Shaskan,
Hmm.
and the other one is called Pizza and Taco Extra Toppings. And so
Nice,
I'm trying
nice.
to put all my pizza and taco things on YouTube there. And I've learned some stuff about was it search SOE, search engine or SEO, search engine optimization. Um so
Ah. Hmm.
so like I might in future use people might be able to find me better, hopefully. If I do the SOE or SEO, sorry.
Yeah, no,
I'm
very
so
cool, very cool.
out of this stuff. It's basically just labeling your stuff better.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah.
When I keep
Yes.
hearing about people talking about link trees too, so every now and then
Yeah.
I'll throw in a link to a link tree, which is a tree of links. So it
Yes.
sounds
Yes.
like you're
I have a link
discoverable.
tree on my Instagram that's filled with stuff that I get maybe one hit off of. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm horrible with social media and things like that, but I try to stay in touch with it, and I try to constantly make videos and different things like that. But yeah, it's just whether or not people are gonna look at it.
Yeah.
I do actually have one fan who it was great. He he's actually recreated pizza and taco books of mine.
Oh
But
wow. Yeah.
then when I did the videos last year, he started recreating my videos in
That's cool.
PowerPoint somehow. So, and I think he was in like fifth grade, and he just like completely like I was like, gosh, I should just hire him to do this.
Right, right. Technical consultant right there.
Yes, yes,
What a wonderful way to engage with fans too. And
yeah,
I'm sure it's rewarding to see fans sort of follow what you do and then do their own spin on it.
yeah.
So wonderful things.
Yeah, that has been a whole other thing with this, with which has been really cool because I get fan mail, and when I go to places to present, whether it's libraries or there's always a kid who's got like like, oh, like I just got a comic. Gosh, I wish I had it around here. I'm gonna see if I can find it. Oh, I do. Here it goes. The la This is
Oh, nice,
how
nice.
pizza and taco became friends.
And I see the side staple there.
Yes, yes, yes. So it's a whole book.
That's cool. There it is. The paneling, the
Yeah,
details, the characters, you can tell who they are all through the book.
yeah, yeah,
Love
yeah.
it.
No,
Love it.
it's great, and it's funny too because like kids will get kind of like the personalities of the characters. Like they'll give each other side eyes, things like that, and like it's like kind of great. It's like they which is that's always amazing to me that they pick up on that as well. And
Yeah.
they pick up on the sarcasm and and the silliness of the two characters, when they're grumpy at each other and so forth. And I think that's really great.
Yeah, yeah. Capturing those emotions, that's not easy to do in drawing.
No,
So,
no, no. Yeah. Oh, I'll show you one last thing here
yes, yes, absolutely.
and
And then I may have a question to wrap us as well.
so this
I
is
won't keep you.
the next book that comes out, and
Ah,
they
nice.
have it. This is the cover. So it's obviously not wrapped around hard cardboard yet, but yeah. So this one's going to be all sparkly.
Nice, nice. We love the glitter. Cool, very cool. In keeping with those textures and just the fun
Yeah,
visual element of it. I love that.
yeah. I'm super. It's the first time I've had a book that's come out with a foil cover, so
Yes, yeah,
really
right there.
excited. I'm really
Yeah.
excited about that.
Joining the Chrome collection of comics. I love it.
Yes.
Yeah. Um, well, you mentioned, and we can use this as a sort of a wrap question if you'd like. You mentioned being a reluctant reader, and you mentioned being engaged with comics. So, as I probably said, I'm an English teacher and a literacy person. So, if you're okay with it, we can chat briefly and just say something along the lines of what comics do for readers.
Oh, gosh. This is the whole thing. Like, so comics made me a reader,
Yeah.
and that's the truth. Like and not only did comics make me a reader, but I was an artist first. So I started drawing comics. And
Hmm.
then when I'm drawing comics, you have to write too. So comics not only made me a reader, it made me a writer.
Love it.
and and I would not be either one of those things without comics. So that's something to be said from the kid who didn't really like to write or read growing up, like to be an author and of 10 books here and 6 picture books and like it's just like yeah it's pretty amazing for me how powerful comics are, and it's because of the art. I think I think it's really important. I think that's one of the reasons why kids are so gravitated to it too.
Hmm.
I think for me, when I see comics, I think they're made for me. When I was a kid, I thought they were made for me. When I saw Mad Magazine, I thought it was made for me, you
Yeah.
know, and just and comic books in general. And I'm always interested in when I'm always interested when people are always like, well, you have to teach kids how to read a comic. It's like you never had to teach me how to read a comic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I just figured it out really quick. Like,
Hmm.
'cause
Hmm.
once again, it was made for me. It seemed like it was made for me. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Very well said. Very well said. Love that message about authoring and creating and reading. And Stephen, I'm glad to have you back anytime to
Yeah.
talk about the future adventures of pizza and taco, and perhaps some fish sticks too.
Yeah.
Whatever creative directions you take, I'll be looking forward to seeing that and talking with you about it.
That'd be great.
All right.
Trying to think who fish sticks would be partnered with.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
But yes.
It could be those little, the pizza
Yeah,
smile
that'd be
or
great. No,
potato
I thank you so
smiles.
much for having me. This has been
Mhm.
it's so fun talking to you. And yeah, I love comics.
Yep,
So
yep,
yeah,
same. Same, same.
yeah,
Great to talk with you as well, and glad to have you back anytime.
yeah. Thank you.